Hi everyone, this is Christy with the Element Bath & Body here in Dallas, and as promised I am doing a vlog telling about my breast cancer diagnosis, or what led up to the breast cancer diagnosis, and how I've been dealing with that emotionally. This is not going to be a weepy one. I have done enough crying, I believe, to last me for a while, but this is quite a challenging thing, and I think the most challenging thing is just the unknown and being faced with your own mortality. Today is January 28th, 2019. This story, or this part of the story, began on June 22nd, 2018, just about 7 months ago. I woke up and got my day started, or was going to get my day started, and went to the bathroom to go brush my teeth and saw a blood stain on my shirt right in front of my left breast. So I inspected further and squeezed, and there was a sticky, bloody substance that came out of my nipple, and I immediately thought to myself, okay, this is breast cancer. And when I tell this story to people that know me, they're just like, well, how would you know that? And I'm like, there was no way for me to know for sure, but I just immediately assumed that there was no other explanation for me to have a sticky substance coming from that area. So I had a mammogram scheduled, a regular mammogram scheduled for the end of July, but I decided to go ahead and go to the hospital on that same day, June 22nd, to let them look at it and tell me what they thought. So they did their exam, and there was no indication, or the typical indicators of breast cancer. There were no lumps or orange peel skin. The skin wasn't hot. None of those things that typically tend to be the first indicators of breast cancer. So even the hospital doctor was just saying, well, maybe it's an infection. I don't think it's cancerous, but just to be safe, we're going to go ahead and order a diagnostic mammogram. That was the first time I had ever heard of a diagnostic mammogram. I just thought there was one kind. So learn something new every day. And so we scheduled that. That was scheduled for mid-July, and had that done. They said we do see something, but they assumed that it was just an infection. They couldn't really tell. So they're like, well, we need to do MRIs to get a closer view of the inside tissue. So did the MRI. They emailed me back and said that I needed to do another MRI. So did the other MRI by this time it's mid-August, and on August 30th the doctor called me. Initially they diagnosed it as DCIS. That is a non-invasive form of breast cancer. So they said, you know, that hurts over that. They diagnosed it as DCIS, which is a non-invasive form of breast cancer. And the doctor was shocked when he gave me the news, because I wasn't crying, I wasn't hysterical. He actually thought that I didn't understand what he said when he said carcinoma. Well, the whole term is ductal carcinoma in situ. But he was shocked because I didn't really have an emotional response. And so he asked me again, was like, well, do you understand what that means? And I told him, yes, carcinoma means cancer. I understand that. So what are we going to do? And that has always been my approach with everything. And that has been the same approach that I've had with this breast cancer journey. Now, don't get me wrong. I have had some really emotional times throughout this period, especially in the beginning. And a couple of times after the breast cancer diagnosis, I've had really emotional times. And that is just because there's a lot of uncertainty. And as humans, our nature is to gravitate toward routine. We love routine. We like to know that what I'm doing today is typically what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. There's a comfort in routine and knowing what to expect every day. Well, when you have any type of major life change, and I'm not just talking about illness, any major life change, be it a change in your career, which I'm experiencing right now as well. When there's any major life changes, that creates a ton of uncertainty because you just don't know what to expect. Your complete routine of your life that has been established is now completely thrown out the window. So that's where a lot of the emotional response and my emotional things have come from when dealing with the breast cancer situation. So, but the doctors were shocked because I wasn't hysterical at receiving a cancer diagnosis. I'm just like, okay, what do we do next? All right, what do we do? And so they were like, okay, well, we can do, you know, radiation. You probably won't need chemo because it's non-invasive, and we're going to refer you to a surgeon, and then you can discuss your options with her. So went to go meet the surgeon, and she came in and she had this, you know, recommended treatments, and before she could even get through the list, I was just like, you know, let's just chop it. Like, this is aesthetic. From an evolutionary standpoint, the only reason I need breasts is to feed a baby. My baby is 15 and a half, almost 16 years old, and I'm not having any more, so I don't care about the aesthetics of having, you know, a breast missing or part of a breast missing. I don't care. I'm more concerned about my life and being here for as long as I'm supposed to be here for my family and my child, my husband, my mom, my siblings, and nieces and nephews, and the list goes on and on and on. So I wasn't shocked about all that. I was just like, I really just don't want to do chemo. So the doctor wanted to know why I was so adamantly against chemo. Well, the obvious reason is, you know, you're putting these toxins and chemicals in your body, and it's guaranteed that you're going to pretty much lose your hair, or you're going to have the ill side effects that come along with taking those treatments. And I just didn't want to be physically wiped out like that. So I was against that. But at the time, she said there was no need for chemo. We'll just do the partial mastectomy and do radiation afterward, and then you'll be fine. So we scheduled the surgery for mid-November of 2018 and did the surgery. We did a partial mastectomy or lumpectomy, where they removed just the cancerous portion of the breast. And so that was about half of my breast. And the funny part is, even though I've had half of this one chopped off, like I was well endowed, let's put it that way. And so even after having half a breast removed, I'm still at about a D or double D cup. Before surgery, like this side is still regular, so this side is I'm still a J cup. Yes, H-I-J. Yes, they go up that high. That's the response I get every time I say J. People, it just blows their mind. It's like a unicorn or something. I don't know. But having half of this one removed, it took me down to about a D cup. So had that done. You know, a couple of weeks later, I had a follow-up with my surgeon, and she was, you know, and she referred me to a medical oncologist for treatment going forward. So meet with the medical oncologist in mid-December, I guess, or early December, yeah. And they explained to me that once the surgeon got me open, they realized that the growth was larger than they expected, quite a bit larger than they expected. And they did find invasive cells, and they removed some of the lymph nodes under this left arm, which is why I have this lovely thing going on right here. And this is just compression bandages and an old sweater that I had. I just cut the sleeve off to cover it so it doesn't get so dingy and disgusting every day. But because that's a side effect of the surgery. Once you have your lymph nodes removed, the fluid doesn't drain properly from your arm anymore. So I'll have to wear compression garments pretty much for the rest of my life. I'm okay with that. But they were saying once they got me open, they realized the tumor was much larger, and they did find invasive cells in the tumor, and they found invasive cells in one of the lymph nodes, which meant that I would most likely need to do chemo. So they told me that I would well, they highly recommended, or strongly recommended in their words, that I do the chemo treatments. And there will be treatments every couple of weeks for the next 4 months. And they did explain to me, well, my medical oncologist did explain to me that it was guaranteed that my hair would fall out from the cocktail of drugs they're going to be infusing. So, and I was okay with that. He was just like, are you okay? Again, I didn't really have a huge emotional response, or maybe the typical emotional response that they get from patients when they hear about that. But like I said, or maybe I didn't say, I'm not sure in the other video, but I've never really been that attached to my head hair. It's just never been that big of a deal for me. Like, I've worn my hair very, very short like this before, just because I don't like combing my hair. Like, I'm a hairstylist by trade. I've been doing it for over 20 years, and I love combing other people's hair, but not mine. That's just never been fun for me. So losing my hair was not that big of a shock, and I didn't cry. And it wasn't until I started thinking about, wait, I'm gonna lose all my hair, and I was like, I'm gonna lose my, ironically, I was more traumatized by the thought of losing my eyebrows. You guys don't know, like, I'm so attached to my Burton Ernie's, as one of my customers used to call her bushy eyebrows. Like, I love my bushy eyebrows. I've always had super thick eyebrows, and so I was really traumatized by that, and I was just sobbing because I'm like, I don't want to not have eyebrows. And I'm sure it was a lot of other emotional things behind that, but I really am attached to my eyebrows. So I was upset about that, and I was telling my best friend about it later on, either that day or the next day, and then she mentioned the eyebrow stencils, and I'm so, like, I don't wear makeup, so I never think of makeup as an answer for anything. And then she was just like, you know, they have these eyebrow stencil kits. You can just get that and, you know, paint your eyebrow on. And I was like, oh snap, like, I can have eyebrows again. So that, I was okay with that. After, it was like, okay, I'll do chemo. I'll feel yucky probably. I'll be really tired. I'll be bald. Okay. Yeah, I thought about wigs. I tried a couple of wigs on. I have a couple, but they're super itchy. And again, I'm not a big fan of hair, so you have to comb that stuff all the time, and I just don't want to do that. So I'm most likely just going to be the bald-headed lady, and you know, wear hats to protect my skin. And then as long as I have eyebrows, I think I'm good. I'll be good. So that's where we are so far with this part of the journey. And I just got my port put in Wednesday of last week. I don't remember the date because my life has been a blur of doctor's appointments and physical therapy, and so it's just like, it's ridiculous. It's exhausting already. But I just got my port in, so that's what these bandages are here, where they put the port in so that I can get my chemotherapy infusions and things like that. So yeah, so that's my story so far. And a lot of people that I've talked to about it have been so shocked at how positive that I seem to be about this whole situation. And I look at it just like anything else. If you have a toothache, you have a tooth that's broken, you're going to try to nurse it yourself for a while, or you could, but eventually you're going to go to a professional, get it removed, because it doesn't keep you from living your life by missing a tooth. Missing half a breast is not going to keep me from, you know, living my life. It's a part of my story. It is not my entire story. Breast cancer is a part of my life. It is not my whole life. So that's the way I look at this. It's a journey. It's just a journey. That's all it is. It's like another road to go down. This one may be bumpier than what I've been used to for the last so many years. However, it's just another journey. So we're going to face each day as it comes. We're going to deal with it as it comes. But we're not going to let it take over and consume our lives and consume my identity. You know, like, people are quick to try to reduce you to a pink ribbon and a 5K walk. And no disrespect to any of those things, but you cannot condense it that way. Like, it's not that simple. So, but I really am so grateful because I have like this rock solid support team, And my family is been so helpful and supportive, and I have really close friends that have been helpful and supportive, and all of my clients have been really, you know, they call and they check on me, or they text to check on me because they know I never answer my phone. But it's been a really cool journey as far as having something that is this stressful. Like, I have had so much support that it's just like, okay, I can make it through this, because no matter what, there's people that are around me that are going to do everything they can to make sure that we're okay. So then you just move forward. So I hope I didn't talk too long. I hope I didn't bore you, but I wanted to share that story. This is part for you. This is part for me. Oh, and the part for you, I also forgot to mention, that's why the link doesn't work if you go to my former website and all that stuff. I have made the decision not to run my business as a business, because it is just me running the business. I'm doing everything by myself, with the exception of some filming my son does, but the business end of the business is just me. And right now I have a lot of physical and mental stress, and running the business is just not what is the priority right now. My health and wellness and my life are the priorities right now. So the business is going to be put on hold until I am done with this part of this journey, and then I can get back into that. So it's, again, it has been a journey, and it's one that, you know, sometimes you end up where you didn't plan to be, but you cannot allow that to be the definition of your life. You cannot allow that to be the excuse for not having happiness in your life. There is nothing that can take the happiness from my life. I find joy in creating, so I make soap still because we use it at home, but also because I love to make things. And so you find things that give you joy to get you through the undesirable stuff, and then it won't be that long, you'll be done with the undesirable stuff, and then you still have your peace of mind left over. So I encourage anyone who may be getting ready to go through the same things, or anyone who is already in the same things or similar situations, be it a life-changing or life-altering illness or a career change or whatever, I encourage you to ask yourself questions. This is the way that I look at my life, and this is the way I've looked at my life for years, is you ask yourself, does this affect my ability to lead a happy, productive life? And if it doesn't affect your ability to lead a happy, productive life, then go on with your life. If it does affect your ability, or has the potential to affect your ability to lead a happy, productive life, then you have to ask yourself, how can I fix it or change it? And if you can't, then you change your perspective of it. So you have to change your perspective so that that thing, that undesirable, or that shift, major shift in life, does not control your every waking thought. You don't want to lose you. There's only one you. Anything else in the world can be replaced, as far as physical, worldly, material things. Jobs can be replaced. Everything can be replaced, but you can't. So don't allow your situation, your illness, your career, whatever, don't allow it to become your definition and take away your peace and your joy. So I think that's all I have to say. Have a great one, and thanks for listening and watching. Peace.